Alright guys, welcome to another weekly outlook video. This one is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. It's unscripted as always, and I'm just going to go through the charts as raw as possible with you guys. And as tradition is, we are going to be starting off with the dollar on a higher time frame. So let's start off with the monthly time frame, because I mean we already halfway through this month, right? So let's see. On the monthly time frame, I did highlight that we could potentially trade up into this monthly fair value gap in the premium of the range. Well, not really, it's actually more of the 50% of the range. If we draw out from the range high over there all the way to the range low, we can see the 50%, this darker line right here, the 0.5 fib of this range. That's where we get the monthly gap residing as well, right? So I did mention that there's a chance we could trade up into that gap. When we go down to the weekly time frame, we have a weekly bullish fair value gap residing right here. We have officially created a swing low right here. Actually, I mean, look at this low. The candle to the left of it is higher, and the candle to the right of it is also higher. So right there we actually have a swing low, and we can look to rotate higher. We could also see a possibility where price could come through, take the previous weekly lows before continuing higher. So we could get something like so, going up into that monthly fair value gap area. So this is my viewpoint on the dollar. Obviously we don't need to take this liquidity, we can just continue higher. I'll be watching the 4-hourly time frame, because that was a weekly fair value gap. So I'll be watching to see how this 4-hour holds. Do we actually respect this bullish order block, tap into it, continue higher, maybe potentially make a bullish fair value gap, then continue to the final target, right? Like, do we get something like so, or do we first get the liquidity sweep that I was talking about, where we sweep the previous weekly lows? Do we get a situation where price comes down, manipulates down very quickly, closes back higher, pulls back, then continues to the final target? We could also get this. For me, I am personally open to anything happening, right? But I'm looking for higher prices, at least until the monthly fair value gap all the way up there at the 102 level on the dollar. So for this week, my objective is clear. I'll be targeting the 102 round figure on DXY. When we go to the foreign currencies like GBP USD and the euro, I would obviously then be looking for the opposite. I'm looking for higher on dollar, so I'll be looking for lower on GU and EU. But of course, as you can see, we're currently still in a consolidative profile. We are still very strong. On the weekly time frame, on GU, we have this weekly fair value gap. Since I'm looking for higher prices on DXY, we could find at least lower prices into this weekly fair value gap. We don't need to see us go all the way down to that sell side liquidity level right there. We could just come down into a higher time frame PDRA. In this case, a weekly fair value gap will suffice. So for example, if we went down all the way to the hourly time frame and we somehow actually turned bearish and confirmed the bearishness, then this would be my target. This would be my drawn liquidity, because I wouldn't need us to do anything. I wouldn't even need to see a liquidity sweep. At the moment, what would be ideal is I'm looking at these swing highs, right? We have the swing high over there, we have this one over here. I know it's really shallow, but trust me, it's there. If we zoomed in, really zoomed in, you would notice that this is a swing high, because the low to the left of it is the candle to the left of it is lower, and the one to the right of it is also lower. So that is an official swing high right there. So I know when you zoom out, it's not really that visible, but I'm watching that swing high. I'm watching this one as well. and I'm also watching these ones up here. So the reason I'm watching them is not necessarily for a liquidity sweep, but I'm looking to see if we could get some sort of SMT with euro dollar. So when we look at euro dollar, we could somewhat mark out those same highs. We could mark out this high, we could mark out this high, we could also mark out even this high right there. And what I would like to see is euro takes out one of the highs, or GU takes out one of the highs that the other pair doesn't take out, right? I would like to see a clear SMT. I know right now if you really looked, you're going to find an SMT somewhere here, but I don't want to force it. I would like to see it very clearly that GU traded into, let's say, this hourly fair value gap while taking out this high, and EU doesn't do the same. Something like that. I would like to see a clear SMT divergence between GU and EU before we can continue lower. But that's my target on GU. When we go to euro dollar on the monthly time frame, since I'm targeting higher on euro on DXY, I should be targeting lower on euro, right? So logic would say target this discounted fair value gap, and it could potentially be a high time frame or a longer term target. To be honest, it could potentially be that, but at the same time I'm very careful because on the quarterly time frame we are currently trading inside of a quarterly fair value gap. So at any point we could actually respect this quarterly gap and start aggressively rotating to the upside. So I'm very careful with any sells that I'm actually going to be holding here. It's not going to be long term. As I said, I could potentially be targeting there, but I'm not really too excited to hold it all the way down there. I would rather take the low hanging fruit, right? So if I'm looking for higher on DXY, lower on euro, then of course I'm going to look for something simple, like let's say this sell side liquidity target right there. Something simple, something reasonable. We've already created a swing high on the 4-hourly time frame, which is a good indication for lower prices. We just need to see a confirmed and clear fair value gap or SMT divergence into a fair value gap, double confirmation or something like that before we can continue taking this lower, right? It's a very simple procedure. It's a very simple thing that I'm looking to see from. As for now, it's a waiting game, as it's been for a while. And speaking of waiting games, let's move on to gold. When we come over this side to gold and we zoomed out from the 4-hour and really zoomed out, actually squeeze your chart, you would notice that in reality, as it is right now, we actually still stuck in a range for I think about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks now. We've just been stuck in a range. We haven't really broken higher or lower. So even though we got a bearish structure form right here and took liquidity right there, we cannot really say with certainty that we are now officially bearish, right? And we also cannot confirm that we are bullish yet. So I would say this is one of those situations where you mark out the range high and mark out the range low, then look to buy the extreme lows and sell the extreme highs. It's as simple as that, until of course we break out. Because when gold starts consolidating, it can literally go for the most extreme PD arrays and then look for sells, or extreme lows and then look for buys after that. So I'm very careful trading gold this week, but I'll be paying more attention to it, to be honest. With the indices, I'm looking for higher prices on Nasdaq. We got a major liquidity sweep on the high time frame, like the weekly time frame. We are still massively bullish, even though I wanted to see if we could trade down lower to this monthly fair value gap right there before we continued higher. I'm not going to be the one trying to stop this train, right? This is a daily time frame and the daily candles are closing like this. To me, it looks like it's very likely to reach for the next swing high right there on the daily time frame. So I'm not going to try and front run a bullish market like that. I'd rather just watch it do its thing. We are currently trading at an SNR level right now, an area of previous resistance, previous support, previous resistance, consolidation, and then more resistance, and now we have returned here again. If we somehow bounce down from this area, then the buy up to this swing high would be really nice. Like, it will be really nice. But I think ideally that we're just going to just continue trading higher from here. Might even find ourselves finding a new all-time high after this, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not too excited to be swing trading Nasdaq right now. I am more focused on day trading it, so I'd rather wait for the New York session open, see what the market has to have for me, then take what I need to take and go. I don't really plan to stick around trading the indices. With oil, I'm looking to see if we could trade back into this volume imbalance. I already have a position framed like this. It's more of a swing idea because I'm not really gonna be putting my mind on oil. I'm just gonna watch it play out and do its thing. But this is what I'm looking for.